I'm back in less than like 9 months. It's a miracle. I'm Erin, the Two Martini Stitcher, here on Flosstube and on Instagram. And today is Sunday, January 5th, and I'm here to do a little finish parade of all the things that I finished in 2024, plus the handful of new starts that I had. I don't think that I'm doing a full whip parade this year because of the way that I stitched in 2024 and what my goals were. I mostly, with the exception of two things, if I touched a whip, I finished it. And so if I did a full whip parade, you'd be seeing the same projects in the same state as they were in my 20 end of 2023 going into 2024 whip parade. I hope that makes sense. But because I did have big finishing goals, I did finish quite a few things. And so I thought it might be fun to show you my finishes plus the I think I have like 4 things that I started last year in 2024 that I didn't finish. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm loving all of the whip parades and plans and finish parade videos, and I know there's so much to watch, so I really appreciate you coming to spend some time with me, and we'll get started. Oh yes, the hair is straight. I had my hair done yesterday. It's the only time you'll ever see it straight. So in case some of you are like, wow, something's really different, that's what it is. Okay. I am about to turn 50, so I do need reading glasses. I have my spreadsheet up here, and we're going to go in the order in which I finished them last year. Oh, I should probably give a little backstory for anybody who is new. I have a big birthday coming up in March. I'm turning 50. And so last year, my goal was to get under 50 whips, 50 works in progress. I wanted to end the year under 50, and then I'm starting 100 things this year. So I did do a video showing all of my planned 100 starts for my birthday year. That's just one video back if you're interested in seeing that. I did, in preparation for getting under 50, I did 24 and 24 last year and planned to have 24 finishes on whips that I had brought into the year. I finished 26 things last year, so I felt really good about that. 22 of them were older whips and 4 were things that I started last year. So I came really close. I do have a couple things that I did finish more than 24 things, but not 24 older whips. So I do have a couple things that I think should finish up this first quarter of 2025. I ended the year with 45 whips. So I think when I did my planning video, I said I had 44. I then had a unplanned New Year's Eve start that I will show, but 45 felt really good and was well under 50, so I was really happy with that. And now I'm going to show you, especially since I did finish some larger things this year. So I'm going to show you all the things I finished. All right, let's get started. The first thing I finished in 2024 was Peace on Earth by Cottage Garden Samplings. I'm going to scoot over a little bit. If I can dig up starting photos, I'll put a starting photo up here of where it was when I started working on it last year. But here is the finish. So I stitched this on, I'm not going to remember all this stuff now. This is 36 count Fog Lifter. I have a handy spreadsheet by R&R, and I used called for flosses. I subbed Anchor Black for black. And here it is. I love Cottage Garden Sampling charts. Unfortunately, when I did wash this and lesson, we all know that we should probably rinse red overdyed flosses, which clearly I didn't. And I did get a tiny little bit of bleed around the house and the bird. But I think from like here, can you tell? One of the things pulling all these together that I felt kind of sad about is so few of them are fully finished. So that is going to be a goal this year, is to get a lot more of these in frames on the wall, fully finished. But there is Peace on Earth by Cottage Garden Sampling. So that was my first finish last year. My next finish, this one, I'm really sad I didn't get up on the wall. But one of my favorite finishes ever. And I'll put a picture here of where it was if I have it when I started. And this is Sing a Sampler. Yay! So this was stitched on 32 count linen in Vintage Stormy Night. I know y'all have seen these charts. They're done in like tans and golds, and this was a color conversion inspired by one that Jan Hicks has on her website that I believe was inspired by somebody else. But if you go to Jan Hicks websites, Jan Hicks creates website, she has a tab of conversions, and this is up there. And I used it as a jumping off point. It was just a bunch of stuff, some that were limited edition that were in my stash. There are silks, there's cottons, there might even be some DMC in here. And this is, I did change the little runner to be Maria from The Sound of Music. I love this piece so much. This has to get framed ASAP and on my wall. I might have to take that down to Acorns the next time I go. Okay. Third finish of the year was Coffee First. This is by With Thy Needle and Thread. This is on 36 count coconut shell linen by Bestitch Me. And the rest of this piece is what I started my first start this year, Coffee Quaker, on. So, because I thought they were both coffee charts. This I also did a stash conversion. I know that like all these coffee beans, and I think even her hair, were off of one like Stitchy Box silk that variegated. So cute. And I have a little charm. Like, this needs to be done. This needs to get made into a cute little pillow or something, because I have a little charm that's the like organic symbol for caffeine. It's gonna go on there. So that's Coffee First. My fourth finish of the year was My Stitcher's Heart by Hands On Design, and I did the box top. So there's several pieces in that chart. I'll put where I was here. That chart comes with like 4 different pieces. There's a pin cushion that I've stitched and not put together, like a tomato. Not the best at the FFOing. I have the box and everything to finish this on. But this is My Stitcher's Heart box top, and this was everything that was called for. I think it's platinum linen, and I may have subbed a color. I think I have a note that I subbed one of the browns, but yep, that was, what did I say, number 4. My fifth finish of the year was actually a new start. It was a start and finish on a piece that was my Smalls exchange for the Stitch North retreat. So that was a Lizzie Kate, I think, called Stitching Forever. I will put a picture of it here since I don't have it anymore, because it was my Smalls exchange. My dear friend Nancy finished it for me into this cute little like thread bed type deal, because she's a lovely person and I hate sewing. So she finished that for me. That was a really fun quick stitch. Let me see, how many days did that take me to stitch? That took me, I stitched that in one day. Stitched that in one day. Okay. The next finish was Garden Duet by Hands On Design. And this won't have a starting point because I had already stitched Harmony and I just needed to stitch Prosperity. So this one was already stitched. I needed to stitch this one, and there they are. This is on a 32 count. I'm pretty sure 32. Could use the glasses that are on my head. Yes, a 32 count linen in honey by Bestitch Me. And trying to get, there we go. And these were all stash flosses. I just did an approximation of what I thought would look good based on the front of the chart. These little sets, little duos, this was spring. There were like 4 of them that were kind of seasonal. I am doing the other 3 as starts this year as part of my 100 starts, so that I will have the whole series. So this is spring, called Garden Duet by Hands On Design. Okay, this next finish I was very excited about because I had been, this is an old whip. I had been working on this a long time. When did I start this? Let's see, Duke Clover. I started this in my thing is not going to be responsive. 21. 20, nope, that's not right. 2020. I started this on my birthday in 2020. So this had been 4 years old. And this is Duke Clover by Alforce Embroidery. I bought this as a kit. I did sub out the kit linen for something very similar. I think that this is Platinum or Flax by Zweigart. And I only did that because I felt like the margins were a little tight for me in the kit. But this was all the kit flosses. There's a bunch of cry neck, so many lazy daisies, and this little bit here with all the lazy daisies, I'm sure that's not as charted, but it looks pretty good, don't you think? I love the flosses that came in this. How good is this gonna look with the other couple like Shamrock Irish starts I have coming this year? Eventually they'll all be on the wall. So that was Duke Clover. Yay! Oh, I don't know where I am. 8. This is The Party's Chill by Bendy Stitchy Designs, and this is like almost finished. See, I just need to stuff it and put some trim on it, but it's close. I had a finishing day. You'll see something coming up later that I finished and gifted, and while the sewing machine was out, I did a couple other little things. But this is Party's Chill by Bendy Stitchy Designs. This was a Patreon chart. I don't know if she's released this or not, but go check her website. It says the parties are advised to chill, which was like the closing on a ruling in a case of like Mattel versus now I'm forgetting the name of the band that does the Let's Go Barbie song. Anyway, it's funny, and this is going to be gifted to someone who does a lot of work with the Supreme Court, and I just thought that they would find this funny. So that's The Party's Chill. Need to fully finish that and get that in the mail. Okay. Next up is Spring Awakening by Summer House Stitchworks. Oh, I have my ring light up because it is very gray here, and it is making that floss seem a lot brighter than it is. This one in the middle. I mean, it's pretty light and bright, but this is done on 36 count linen in Moonstone by Color and Cotton. This is not what's charted at all. It's charted in like, I think like a blue and a gold and something else. And I chose to do this like kind of green fade. This is also part of a seasonal series, and I'll be starting the other 3 of these this coming year as well in their seasons, but that's Spring Awakening. I don't know how I'm going to finish those. I need to find something where I can maybe like switch them out. What do we think? All right, next up is Garden Club Fairy Garden. You can see that this is still on a huge piece of fabric. I'm stitching these on 28 count platinum linen. And this was, I think, called for colors, which there's, I think, supposed to be more contrast. Like all Blackbird charts that have been around for a while, the dye lots have changed on some of these flosses, but I think it looks really pretty and came out really well. I have done one other in this Garden Club series. I have 2 more that I would like to stitch. And then I have a finishing plan for them. whenever that happens. So that's Fairy Garden by Blackbird Design. All right, next up is another finish that I was just so happy with. This is Metamorphosis by Ink Circles. I love her like nerdy science charts. This is stitched on 32 count. Oh, this was a no-name linen from Be Stitch Me. I probably got it in a Friday night fight night, but you can see that it's coming in pretty true there. It does have like a kind of almost like a purplish taupey hue to it. And I stitched it in this beautiful fade. It goes from pink to a like purpley blue to like a gray purple through grays all the way to black as it changes. I love this. I have no idea how I'm going to finish this. It might just get a really irregular frame and go on the wall, but that is Metamorphosis by Ink Circles. This was so fun to stitch. Like each one of these only took a couple days. I don't know why this was in my whip pile for so long, but love that chart. Okay, the next one is a surprise finish for me because this was not on my radar to finish at all last year. But Michelle Bendy was working on hers and I thought, oh, I'll get mine out and just work on it a little bit while she is, and we'll work on it together because we started them together. And then it grabbed me and I finished it. We actually both finished it. So this is, I just picked it up from the framer from Acorns and Threads the other day. This is We Live in Hope. Oh my gosh. As Michelle calls it, this is the Alicia, Erin, Michelle version of We Live in Hope. Alicia gifted both Michelle and I this chart. And then in 2020, I think in 2020, we started this. Michelle was doing a whip go board where her friends could pick her starts. I'm pretty sure they were starts out of what she had kitted. And I got pulled for January. Like I got to be one of the first people to pick her start. And I said, well, I'm going to pick We Live in Hope and I'm going to start it with you. So we went to start it. And right as we were starting it, Desmond Tutu passed away. And so I had said, I would really like to change the alphabet because this was an alphabet and then had a signature line. I think it said like Barb Adams, Chesapeake Bay or something like that. I said, I want to change that whole alphabet to this Desmond Tutu quote. And I tried recharting it and showed it to Michelle and was like, what do you think of this? And she's like, oh, poor sweet child, hold my beer. Let the designer do it. I'm pretty sure she wasn't drinking a beer, but, and then she recharted the Desmond Tutu quote. The original chart does say We Live in Hope, but because our friend Alicia puts her hope into action, Michelle also charted We Do the Work. And I love this so much. I know if you own this chart and you want to stitch the Desmond Tutu quote and We Do the Work, contact Michelle. And she will send you the charting. I'm not making that up. She said that in a recent video. So I'm not committing her to anything that she didn't commit herself to, but it's not the whole chart. Like you will have had to purchase this chart, but if you have the chart, then she will send you the recharting. But look how amazingly gorgeous this is. This was a stash conversion. Hold please. Okay, so sorry if that set any of your dogs off. We Live in Hope. I don't know what else to say about this. Oh, I was telling you that I did a stash conversion. So it's fairly true to what is charted, but I think it is a little brighter because I just tend to like things a little bit brighter. But this is We Live in Hope. I love the framing that Acorns and Threads did. And I'm so very excited to get this on my wall. I stitched this on Pearwood. 36 count pearwood by color and cotton with stash flosses. Let's just gaze at it. We live in hope. That was a total surprise. That was not on the list of finishes that I had targeted for last year. It just grabbed me when I picked it up to work on it a little bit. I think I closed the border on it. If I have a picture of where I started, I'll put it here. But I closed the border, and then once I closed the border on it, I thought, I could just finish it. I could just fill it in. So maybe there is something to doing the border first. I tend to do the border as I go so I don't get bored, but maybe there is something to doing that border first. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, this next one is a truly oldie but goodie whip. I think I started this in 2018 or 2019. This is Knee High by Hands On Design. I stitched this on, I think it's a 16 count Aida that it was just white that I tea coffee dyed. And I used all the called for except for this color green here. I used, I think, like guacamole, and it was called for cornstalk or vice versa. I don't know. I subbed this out for something super close because I just didn't have what it called for. So that's Knee High. And this would be fun to get finished and up this summer. Okay, where am I? This is finish 15 for the year, and that's Antique Locks and Keys by Shakespeare's Peddler. Super cute. I don't know. I kind of want to like get this finished into a project bag. I don't know why. I mean, it's kind of small, but I like small project bags because I stitch in hand anyway. It's just giving me project bag vibes. This is charted, I think, in one color, and I picked 3, I think. This is on 36 count Picture This Plus in Tycho, and I used Gentle Arts, Espresso Bean and Verdigris, and Color and Cotton Almost Auburn. I just went with what I thought looked like old brassy keys. Cute. I think I'm starting Cats and Crowns. There's a whole series of those. They're all really cute. They're pretty quick stitches. My next finish is The Light by Barbara Anna Designs. And I think this was a freebie. I think this was her Be Well freebie. And we all started it. And then I took forever to finish it. It's on a piece of, I don't know, 32 count, 36 count, 36 count. My spreadsheet says mystery linen. Don't know. Have no idea. Like someone searched the edges. That isn't me. So I who knows where I picked up this linen. And that's all the called for DMC. I did use some étoile for the actual light instead of what was called for. So I don't know that you can see it. I don't know if the sparkle is going to show up, but I really like that little touch. And she's so fancy. She's so fancy. I love Barbara Anna's Animals and Dresses. Okay, my next finish is, it's a finish, but is it still a whip? A whip or not a whip? That is the question. This is Around My Friends, which was part of a retreat piece from Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit in 2021, because I put the year on it. And it's an exclusive chart to Acorns and Threads. You can still get it. It's 3 of these little rounds. That year, the designers were Summer House Stitchworks, Ink Circles, and Hands On Design. And so they collaborated and did a set of these rounds, and they each designed one. So there's 2 more in this set. I had this one started and I finished it. So I called it a finish, and it's a finish for now. But on Michelle Bendy's latest, I think it was her whip parade or her finish parade, there was some question of, is this really still a whip? Am I artificially deflating my whip count by not considering this a whip because there's 2 more to do? Thoughts? Because I do plan to do the other 2 at some point. But here's my finish. It's stitched in, it was everything that came in the kit. So I think this is like platinum linen and Gloriana silks. So fun to work with. And I did put 2021 on there when I first started it because that was the year of the retreat. So I wanted that to still be the year that was on there. So that was my finish. Is it still a whip? Is my whip count 46? I actually don't think it is because on my whip list, is the rest of, I do have as a whip the entire retreat piece. And then this was a bonus chart. Definitely a finish. I think it's already on my whip list. You tell me what you think. It was a bonus chart that was in the retreat kit. This is starting to feel like Disney or girl math. Okay, moving on. What is next? This one is also like almost finished. This is Philanthropic Pumpkin by Hands On Design. And you can see I did the sewing. So I need to stuff it. It needs to be stuffed and like the pumpkin lines and the stem put on. But I'm close. Look how close I am. Like I even started fully finishing it. I get like a half credit for that. So this is Philanthropic Pumpkin. This was a charity kit by Hands On Design several years ago. And you can't get it anymore, but I don't know if just the pattern is available or not. Yeah, so I don't know if you can get this. The kit came with like everything you needed except for the DMC. So this is DMC. I stitched it on whatever the kit linen was. Philanthropic Pumpkin. It's a flat little pumpkin. Maybe someday you will be a fluffy pumpkin. Okay, next up, this is finish 19 for the year, and it is Quaker Genetics by Ink Circles. Yes, I love ink circles. I believe it's the most, of all my starts this year, I think ink circles is the highest number of starts as well from a designer. My love for Tracy Horner is deep. Here is Quaker Genetics. This was a fantastic one. I was doing like a motif a month. And then when I got close, like last year, and then when I got close, I just finished it. This is stitched on 36 count linen and Coffee Club by Be Stitch Me with called for-ish colors. I think this green was supposed to be something else that I didn't have. So I pulled something from Stash, and same with the ivory. I think that's Buttermilk by Color and Cotton. I love this so much. It's a Punnett square. I absolutely love this. So good. Need to get that on the wall. How many times am I going to say that? A lot. And then, I totally skipped over one. After I finished We Live in Hope, rewind. After I finished We Live in Hope, I had another huge finish that's also framed, which is why it kind of messed me up actually having something fully finished. Right after I finished We Live in Hope, I finished Oh Joyous Day that I also picked up from the framer at Acorns. Look at how gorgeous this is. Okay, I'm going to get you up close. This was my inauguration day start in 2021, which is why it bears the year 2021, even though I finished it last year. So it has January 20th, 2021 as the start because this was my inauguration day start. And then I wanted to finish it before Election Day this year. And so I was working really hard on it over the summer. And I was getting very close right about the time that I felt like Biden was going to step aside, and I finished it the day he did. I said, this is the day we're finishing it. And so, Oh Joyous Day. I'm so excited to have this on my wall. This pear motif here is probably the most favorite thing I've ever stitched. This pear motif. This pear is the reason that I am starting the Rose in the Pear. I think it's called the Rose in the Pear by Hands On Design, the one with the big pear in the house and the big rose. Y'all know which one I'm talking about, right? It was because I loved stitching this pear so much. And that bird. And there's a whole bunch of like satin stitches in the border. It's beautiful. Can you tell how proud I am of these two finishes? I'm going to hold them up side by side. Look at this. Maybe that'll be my thumbnail. They're gorgeous. This one is, I mean, it is a little pinky, but I don't know that it's as pink as it's showing up here, but there they are. Okay. Have we luxuriated enough in these two finishes? Those are huge finishes for me this year. Huge. And I'm super, super proud of them. Yeah, I got to Quaker Genetics and I was like, that's September. I know I finished that in like September. Oh Joyous Day, I think I finished in July. I would have finished it at the end of July. So, yeah, two big finishes. I mean, some of these are, I had a lot of smaller finishes, but some of these are not insignificant finishes. I was really, really happy with my finishes last year. This one is a tiny finish. This is Prince of Pies, and yet another in that, is it still a whip question? Because this is a chart pack from Lindy Stitches, and I plan on stitching at least one more. But this is Prince of Pies. I'm pretty sure I bought this as like a chart and floss pack, so I think it's all called for flosses. Maybe it just came with the overdyes because a lot of it's DMC, and this is on 32 count linen in, let's see if I can read it, Tarnished Silver by Lakeside Linen. So that's Prince of Pies. Look at that little owl. He's so cute. And I don't know, I'll probably just finish that as a little pillow. Okay, next up is Autumn Squirrel. Another Barbara Anna, Animal in a Dress. How good is she? So good. I think I got this chart out of a Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. I'm like 90% sure. And this is stitched on raw linen with, it was all the it's all called for DMC. This color is a DMC like variegated that I didn't have, so I just pulled a color and cotton that I think was like a dead on match. Either way, she is so fancy, and look at her tending to her mushrooms. I love this. I may attempt to do a stand-up finish on this. I'm pretty sure Helen D can talk me through it. I think she has a tutorial. She can probably do it. Okay, this next finish was a start last year. So this wasn't an older whip. I started this. It's called Caged Bird by Rebel Stitcher Designs. It's in a booklet that I think is called Civil Samplers. But it's a booklet of several designs. I think there's like 3 or 4 designs in there, and this is one of them. It's so beautiful. I started this on election day, and if Harris had won, I would have saved the finish for inauguration. Like I would have taken it until inauguration day, but instead I just stitched the whole thing. It really, this is a medium-sized piece, I think. Caged Bird. Yes, it is 169 by 102, but it stitched really fast. And I stitched this on 36 count linen in Hot Cocoa by Be Stitch Me. It has kind of a pretty like pinky taupey hue to it. And I think it's mostly called for. I think I subbed one of the flosses, but I think it's otherwise called for. And it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I actually kind of want this as like a bigger pillow. I might have to take that to Acorns to finish because I want it to be a nicer, more professional finish than I can do. I'm serviceable with a sewing machine, but not super great. So that's Caged Bird. So pretty. So pretty. Okay, this next one was a very, very exciting finish for me. My very first Mira ever, and it is Touching the Autumn Sky. I'll put up here where I started the year. She's just so pretty. This is on 32 count linen in Autumn by Be Stitch Me. Let me see. Yep, Autumn by Be Stitch Me. I started this a while ago, so I don't know if she still makes this. It went to a green, well, more green over here. I use the red end because we have some beautiful Japanese maples in our yard that turn that reddish. So that's what I did. I did change the bead color from what was called for, just because they were a really pale yellow and I wanted something that was more golden. And then I followed in Sarah Memphis E's footsteps and added some little leaf treasures as well, because she's just so special. She deserves some treasures. I am just so pleased with her. She's so gorgeous. And I don't have the chart. It was given to me by a incredibly generous stitcher years ago, and it has been passed on already. If you want a crack at it, it will be raffled off at Stitch New England Retreat, I believe, next year. So, or this year, later this year. So anyhow, I'm gonna hold her up one more time because she's so pretty. Touching the Autumn Sky. I'm so excited. That was my first ever mirabilia, and the only one that I had on the go, my first mirror finish. I will be starting a couple more this year. I think one of them I'm going to start next month. Okay. We're getting down to it. Only a couple left. This one is also a big, huge, like, who was I last year? If you've been around for a while, who was that girl last year that was so focused on finishes and kept up with a huge stitch along? So this was a start, obviously, in 2024. This was the Modern Folk Embroidery 2024 stitch along, called No Time Like the Present, which you can, of course, still get on Jacob's website. And I kept up with it. I stitched, I broke it up. I think Jacob had it broken up to finish in October so that you could do Black Sampler November and then their Advent box through Evertotes in December. But I just knew I wanted to finish it in the year. So I just took the stitch count, divided it by 12, and I kept up with this all year. It's not quite as light as it is looking in the camera. I stitched this on 36 count linen and overcast by Color and Cotton in DMC 930 and 931. And here it is. I did switch some color around. Jacob amazingly had this charted to be the exact same number of stitches in each color, which is remarkable. But I wanted the whole outside border to be that darker color. And then I switched the colors in this area so that the deer was 930 and the accents were 931. So, but those are the only changes I made. Otherwise, that is No Time Like the Present. These charts are amazing. It was so fun and relaxing to stitch, and I'm looking at it and I cannot believe that I started this and kept up with it and finished it last year. Probably never happen again. Y'all are witnessing history, but that is gorgeous and I loved it. And then my last finish for the year was another oldie. This was another 2019 whip. And this is Christmas is Coming by Barbara Anna Designs, one of her little tiny writers. It's so cute. Look at that snail. Look at that snail. So cute. And Santa in his rusty coat. I stitched this on 32 count linen in sea glass. I think that's by Extra Designs. And with all the called for DMC. Love it. That's it. That was 26 finishes for last year. Oh no, I totally skipped over one. Y'all, I'm terrible at this. I'm really, really bad at this. There was another start last year that I had that I finished. I don't have the finish with me. I think that's why I forgot it and missed it. Also, reading glasses, missed it on my spreadsheet. Back in March, I started 324 by Works by ABC. Did the 324 Sal. I finished that piece in October, maybe. Yep, at the very end of October, I finished 324, and then I fully finished it and gifted it to my daughter for Christmas. So I'm gonna put pictures here of my fully finished. I stitched it on 36 count linen, white linen with all the called for DMC, and then I finished it into an 18-inch pillow. I'm pretty proud of this because I only cursed like 3 times sewing this, but it's a envelope pillow, and that's what it looks like. It looks really great. It came out really good, and I very much want to stitch that again in like black on like charcoal, maybe charcoal Ada, for myself someday. But okay, so now for real, that was 26 finishes. I'm kind of a mess. It's real life. That's real life. Okay, so that's all the finishes. The only things I wanted to show you in addition to my finishes were the things that I started in 2024 that I didn't finish. And there's just 4 of them. So I had started, I started and finished Modern Folk Embroidery, started and finished my Stitch North Smalls Exchange, 324, and Caged Bird. So I had 4 things I started that I also finished, and then I had 4 starts that I did not finish. So I was going to show you those because you may or may not have seen them. The first thing I finished that clearly is not started is my Long Dog Leap Day sale. So for Long Dog Leap Day this year, I started Pointed Fifth. Because I was working on Modern Folk Embroidery, stitch along all year, I didn't put as many stitches in this as I needed to be at 25% by the end of February this year. So if anyone is not familiar, Long Dog Leap Day was something I started in 2020. It kind of took off, and which makes me so very happy. Like, so many people now started Long Dogs last year for Leap Day. I mean, a lot of people started with me in 2020, but in addition to starting Long Dogs, so many people started Leap Day projects that were maybe just like big projects or not even necessarily Long Dogs. But the idea is you start on Leap Day and then you have 4 years to finish it before the next Leap Day. So I would really, to be on pace to finish, would need to be at 25% this February. And I'm not there, but this is going to get a lot of attention this year. Whenever I'm not working on a new start for my birthday, this is what I'm going to be working on. It's already gotten some love in the first few days. And this is where I am on Pointed Fifth. I am stitching this on 36 count linen in Tephra by Cedar River Linens. I mean, like, look, and it's like, look how much fabric I have because she's big. I don't need this whole thing, but I'm not going to cut it till I get to the bottom. And I'm stitching it in, this main color is Mrs. Sadis Silk in the River, I believe. Mrs. Sadis River, and then the contrast is NPI 834. So get you up close, which just looks like fantastic with these like little darker bits. I think that I'm gonna backstitch as I go. I did this little bit of backstitch here, but there is backstitching up in these bands, and I think when I finish each page, I'm gonna backstitch as I go. So I'm gonna do 2 arches across, and then I'm gonna work my way down because I stitch in hand and I tend to like work left to right, and I will roll my fabric and hold it this way. So that's my plan of attack. This is where it stands now. I love this piece. I love it so, so much. I love long dog samplers. They're so fun to stitch. So fun. So you're going to be seeing actually a lot of that this year. I will update occasionally on how that's going. And I took what is left of the stitch count at the beginning of the year and divided it by the number of months I have left until Leap Day 2028. And I need to stitch about 3,000 stitches a month on it to get that, which is what I did on Modern Folk Embroidery this past year and still had all those other finishes. So I feel really good about it. I think I can keep that pace for the next 3 years. So we'll see. That's the plans. That's the plans for that one. The next start was in March that I didn't finish. I just started it. I took it on a trip with me. This is 1905 Bird by Bendy Stitchy Designs. This was for Michelle's birthday. We did a Bendy birthday. Sal and a bunch of us started her designs for her birthday and flooded her feed with her designs. I think I bought this when it came out. It's charted in a sulky pack, which I don't have. Oh, yeah. So there's a sulky pack for it, which you can probably still get on Michelle's website. But it's a great pack of sulky threads. Ta-da! So there's the threads. And this was really fun to stitch on. This is on this is on a test linen from Cedar River Linens. And I don't know, this was Jody just is a sweet dear person and gave me some linen she was testing. And I don't know if this became like coffee stain or maple bar, maybe. It maybe look, I don't know. It was a test, but it looks very similar to her coffee color. So if you want something similar to this one, Jody's fabrics are amazing. Amazing. Cedar River Linen, love them. There's my start. This is a really fun chart because some of it is in half stitches. So these half stitches here, that's how they're charted. They're not waiting for me to cross them. But that's not that amazing of a start. I just worked on it the one weekend. So you can see I'm just kind of getting into that bird's wing. But it's a fun colorway. I love this bird with the cherries. It's going to go in. I have a donut needle minder for Michelle. And man, I should measure this out and cut the rest of that fabric because that's a great fabric. So that's 1905 Bird. My next start that is still a whip came in, I think like November. And this is Hildy by Unconventional X Stitch. I'll put a picture of what it's going to look like here. This was one that I purchased when they had a fire and then had to start it. Because, have to have a impromptu, unplanned, full coverage start. There's my start on it. Uh-oh. I think I have... don't know where the rest of that needle minder is. There it is. So start, that's upper left quarter, and I think this is the start of like one of those like pairs. But look at the beautiful, I've only like floss dropped the colors for the first page. Which admittedly is almost all the colors, but it's gonna be gorgeous. It's gonna be gorgeous. This is 25 count easy grid Lugana, called for DMC 1/1 full cross. Beautiful, beautiful color palette. I may have purchased a bunch of charts. I need to live forever. That's all there is to it. Need to live forever so that I can stitch all of the beautiful things. Okay, last start for the year that's still a whip was in very impromptu New Year's Eve start, and this is Autumn Town by Nara X Stitch on Etsy. I'll put a picture of what it's going to look like here. This is a companion piece to one that Jessie Marie is started and is working on, and every time she showed it, I went and looked at it on Etsy, would put it in my cart, would not purchase it, and then Flosstube and I enabled each other to buy the set of charts and start one. So here is my New Year's Eve start on Autumn Town, and this is on a 36 count linen in Storm by Atomic Ranch with all the called for DMC. It looks full coverage in the mock-up, or it could potentially, but the sky, it is full coverage from like the houses down, but the sky is not stitched, and so that's why I went with this, like, I mean, that looks like Seattle in November. I don't know what to tell you. Just, that's it. So that is autumn vibes sky for me. So there's my start. This was super fun to stitch. I don't know when I'm gonna get back to it, but had to start it. Okay, so that is all the new whips you haven't seen, all my finishes from last year, all the new whips you haven't seen. The only other thing I was gonna show you was the one older whip that I worked on and didn't finish. I thought that I might get this finished this year. I see, and that's kind of a lie. There were two older whips that I worked on that I didn't finish, but one of them is my current daily 30, like 25/7 piece that I work on just for like 30 minutes or a couple strands each day, and that's Fragments in Time. And so you're going to see that come up like in all of my update videos this year until it's finished. I think I'll probably finish it first quarter of the year, but you'll see that. This one though, I don't know when I'm going to work on it again. So I figured I'd show you the progress that I did make. This is What a Time to Be Alive by Heartstring Samplery. And I think I started this in 2021, maybe. My tablet shut down. I don't know. I think I started this in 2021, and this is on a piece of, I think, Boot Camp. Hold on. I will find it. I will find it on my spreadsheet. I can do that. Yes, this is 36 count Boot Camp by Bestitch Me, and I'm stitching it in a Bestitch Me silk called Autumn. And then the words are in a Mrs. Sadis silk. Did I say which one? 07. So this is where I got to. I'll put a picture of where I was when I started working on it this year. And this is where I got to. So you can see I was on a race to finish this at the end of the year, and I thought I might get it done, but I didn't. But it's close, and this might be, when I finish Fragments in Time, this might be the one that I pick up as like a daily 30 to finish. So you might see this again this year, but you might not. But that's where I got to on What a Time to Be Alive. I thought that there was potential that this was going to be my last finish of the year, but you know, you have like more family stuff, and I prioritize playing games with my kids that were home for the holidays. So, but I do love this piece. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay. That's everything I worked on. That's everything I worked on in 2024. Lots of finishes, a few new starts, and a couple whips that didn't get finished. Thank you so much for joining for this. It's kind of chaotic. what else is new? Kind of chaotic video, and I am really looking forward to all my starts this year, and I will keep you updated. I am planning to come back really regularly. Like, I'm hoping every 10 days, 2 weeks, to show you the things that I started and the few whips that I'm working on in between all the starts. And I hope that everybody has as peaceful of a 2025 as you can, and turn to your stitching for comfort where needed, which is what I will be doing. And I'll see you soon. Bye.